podcast.
Again.
Podcast.
Again, stay on the beat now. Come on.
Podcast.
Get it? Really get that last part?
Daily Solutions Podcast.
Oh, you're going to be a star.
Hey everyone, Graham here.
Ashkahn here.
And today's question is, I'm pretty handy and have worked as a general contractor in the past. What parts of building a float center do I need to hire professionals for? It's a little bit of a tricky...
Probably a lot of it still.
It's a little bit of a tricky question, and it's another one of those, the more work you decide to do yourself, certainly the more at risk you're putting everything.
And it's just the work's not easy work, you know? Like it's not like very simple construction that you're trying to do to get a float center up and running. I mean, of course, there's certain legal things, like you probably can't. Unless you have like a plumber's license and an electrician's license and things like that. You're not going to be doing those things.
Certified HVAC installer for mechanical kind of permitting work you need to pull.
So, I mean, you probably can act as a general contractor. Like if you think you have the general knowledge and stuff like that. Like that's, and just having an eye for construction is a huge help in and of itself.
Yeah, I would almost say like the best thing about you being a contractor in the past is you probably have some good connections in your area. Yeah. If you were a contractor in your city, if your license is still valid, then that gives you some nice access to contractor supply rates without needing to go through your contractors. There's certain benefits to it, even if you're doing none of the labor yourself. And again, the biggest one in my mind is being able to vet out other people and their work is an awesome resource to have at your disposal as a result of previous work and training.
I mean, the main stuff that you would be able to do yourself in a construction site would be, the framing and the drywall and all that sort of stuff, the stuff that doesn't require kind of a certification for. And even that gets a little bit tricky. I mean, because even just slapping up drywall is not quite as easy in a float center. Like, you're dealing with a lot more expensive pieces of sheetrock than you would be otherwise if you're dealing with kind of these soundproof sheetrock. And so that you just kind of want to be wiser about how you're cutting it and not screwing things up is one part of it.
Yeah, I guess there's a good lesson here in that even if you're going with, if you personally don't have contracting experience, if you're hiring contractors, anything like that, just know that the work going into a float tank center is probably really different than work that contractor has done in the past. Yeah. Again, whether it's you or someone else, like you probably haven't gone and installed totally soundproof assemblies with like waterproofing or anything like that. And if you have worked on home theaters, if you've worked on professional studios, if you've worked on pools or even on boats or something like that, all of that's a really good experience. It's a little more relevant just than your basic residential contracting experience.
But yeah, it becomes important. Like you want someone who can put up sheetrock with very, very small gaps between the pieces. Like that's going to pay off in terms of your soundproofing, as opposed to, maybe you're not quite as good as that, and like you're leaving bigger gaps. I mean, the nice thing is if it's you care a lot. Which is definitely a big help. Like it's very important to you that it gets done right. So if you're doing it yourself, you have that going for you. But even in something that you might think is a very common thing to be able to do yourself, like sheetrock, there are some benefits that come from paying someone who can actually do a good job of getting pieces like really well and nicely cut and tight together.
And there's another part of this too, which is warranties, right? Like the more that work is being done by other people, especially even things like putting up your waterproofing and stuff like that, which maybe you could do yourself. But now if your waterproofing fails, do you want that to all be on you and you can't really claim a warranty for the installation or anything like that? Like just having someone else who's on the line to be the one to come in and fix something or pay the money if something goes wrong can be a reason in itself to, even if you possess the qualifications, to not just do things yourself.
Yep. So I guess I'd say you're in a good position to be your own general contractor, because it's one of the things that like there's not really like general contractors specializing in float tank centers,
right?
Or anything, right? So there's not like that kind of expertise that you're missing out on. So hopefully, if you have good connections from being a contractor before, that'd be the real main benefit you'd get from having another person be your general contractor, is those connections.
And that's, I should just put it in a little aside that in order to be a general contractor, you either need to be in a state where, as the owner of your business, that just allows you to serve as general contractor, which some places do, or you need to still have your contractor license active, of course. But if you were a contractor, you already know that, hopefully.
So that seems fine to me, and probably a benefit to you that you can act as your own general contractor. And then beyond that, like I'd probably, if you can, try to find good people to do the specific parts of the work.
Yeah, to do the waterproofing, to do again, any licensed work, your hands are kind of tied. Concrete sloping, things like that, you want consummate professionals.
Yeah.
Unless you personally have tons of experience in concrete work, especially interior concrete work, that's probably not one of the things you want to do yourself.
Yeah, that's real hard. Getting the slopes right for multiple drains in a single room, all that sort of stuff is...
And all of this, too, is coming from us having done a ton of construction ourselves and knowing how hard it is and how hard it is to get things right. And when you're opening, too, there's so much to do that's not construction. From the marketing to starting to figure out who you're going to bring on for early employees and training them and everything. Like, if you're being called in all these different directions, at some point, you're probably going to drop the ball on one of them. So, a realistic assessment of your time and how many business partners you have is definitely necessary as well.
I will say having this kind of construction knowledge will be super handy after the point that you're opening. And when like there's little stuff that needs to be fixed and, upkeep and ongoing maintenance and all that sort of stuff, like all this is going to come in super, super handy.
Yeah, I said it earlier, but I would view it almost as a superpower for being able to vet other things and all the benefits that you get from being experienced in this realm, and consider not necessarily doing the bulk of the work yourself. Maybe a lot of the benefits you get from your past experience are more fringe benefits and come from that side of things.
Cool. I think that's good.
I feel good.
If you guys have more questions for us, you can go to floatanksolutions.com/podcast and use your fingers to type them on in there.
And we'll talk at you again tomorrow.
Bye.